Hello students, Happy New Year to all. In the last video class we have already completed chapter number 7, that is hydrogen, and your unit test 3 is also over. Now we have already completed our unit test 4 syllabus also, that is hydrogen. In today's video class I will start from chapter number 8, that is water. It is very familiar word to you, water. You have already studied so many things about water in your previous classes. So water, you know, is the very important compound. We get water in both pure form and impure form. Water is very much essential for our daily life. In all respect, we need water. Other than daily uses, water is also used in so many purposes, for irrigation, for navigation, for generating electricity, etc. You also know that the chemical formula water is a compound because water is formed by the chemical combination of hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio 1:8 by mass. Okay, and the formula of water is H2O. The formula of water is H2O. It is the formula of water, very common formula, H2O. Okay. So while doing some previous things of water from our previous classes, as you know that our body is total weight of our body is about 70% is water. In elephant it is having 80%. In cow milk it is 87%. In cucumber and tomatoes it is 96% to 96% in cucumber, and in tomatoes it is having 94% of water. And you also know the main sources of water. What are the main sources of water? Sources of water. What is sources? First water is the rainwater. As you all know, it is the purest form of water. Okay. After that, surface water. That is consisting seas, oceans, lakes, ponds and other water bodies. Then third one is the groundwater, means underground. Ground water is very essential. Okay. So in this fresh water, there are surface water. It can be divided into two parts. That is, one is saline water, another is the fresh water. In saline water we know that seas and oceans. We get seas and in ocean the water is salty, that is called saline water. But in case of fresh water we have ponds, lakes, rivers, etc. Okay. So rainwater is the primary source of water. Without rain we will not get water in any of these sources, surface or underground water. When rainwater is percolated through the soil and the water goes to the inside the earth and get deposited in above the bedrocks, that is called water table. From there we pump out the water for our uses. Sometimes these water tables are also connected with some rivers also, or some lakes. Okay. Now, why don't we use the saline water? Because saline water consists of lots of salt in them. For our use, we have to do first of all desalination. So what is desalination? Desalination. What is this term desalination? Desalination means to remove salt from seawater. To remove salt from seawater, but to remove salt from seawater is a very tough process. It will take so many times. For making salt from seawater, we do desalination of seawater by the process of evaporation. But during evaporation, we get the salt, but water gets evaporated. Okay, so to collect that water vapor, again we have to do the process of distillation, which is a very tough process. Don't say if you don't say the tough, but it is a very slow process. So it's not possible to get water from fresh water from seawater by this distillation process. Okay. Now, water is not salt in fresh water, so we get fresh water in the frozen state also. Sometimes fresh water we get in the frozen state also. Means ice and glaciers. Okay, ice and glaciers also we get the it contains fresh water. Okay. And this water, total circulation of water takes place in the nature. That is called water cycle. First of all, when rain from water bodies, evaporation takes place. After evaporation, formation of clouds are there. When these clouds become heavy, that means on condensation we get water, and the water that falls from the cloud, that we call rainfall. We call them as a rainfall. So rainfall is very important. All sources of water, they are getting water from rainwater only. Okay. Now next topic is the physical properties of water. Physical properties. Water is just now I have told you, water is colorless, tasteless and odorless liquid. Water is cooled at 0 degrees Celsius to freeze them, so freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. So the freezing point of water is 0 degree Celsius. Freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius, but it should be pure water. If water contains some impurities in them, so then freezing point and boiling point both will change. So again, what we'll write? Boiling point. Boiling point of water is 100 degree Celsius. That means at 100 degrees Celsius, water starts boiling and to form water vapor. Okay. And if the temperature increases to above 100 degrees Celsius, then it is called the water vaporizes into water vapor. After that, what are the effects of this change in the boiling point and freezing point of water? First is the pressure. If pressure of a place decreases, pressure decreases, then if pressure decreases, then boiling point will increase. If pressure decreases, boiling point will increase. Similarly, if pressure increases, the boiling point will decrease. Okay. So the reverse process. So pressure can be alter the boiling point of a water. Boiling point of water has a direct relation with the pressure. Increase in pressure will increase in the boiling point. So when you go to the high altitudes in mountains where the temperature is very less, side by side the pressure in those areas is also less, because as we go high altitude above the earth's surface, the air pressure decreases. Okay, so the boiling point will also decrease. So in those places the people use mainly pressure cooker to cook their food, because inside the pressure cooker the pressure of the water increases, which will increase the boiling point of water also, and it will help to boil any kind of food very quickly. Okay, so so pressure cooker is inside the pressure cooker is when we cooking food. Therefore, the increase in the pressure, more heat is required to reach the temperature, so food get cooked in lesser time. And atmospheric pressure in the hills is lower as compared to the plains, so therefore boiling point of water is also lower than 100 degrees Celsius on the hill. As a result, food takes longer to cook on the hills. Okay. Now the addition of impurities. Some impurities are also alters the rate of boiling point and melting point. So adding the salt in water rises in the boiling point. If the salt is added, the boiling point will rise. The phenomenon is called cooking, and the process is called cooking. Again, adding alcohol in water will lower the freezing point. This helps to prevent water in car radiators and from freezing in the chilly weathers. So in cold countries or cool places, in car radiator, water alcohol is added to water, so it will not freeze inside the radiators. Addition of salt in ice also lower the melting point about 15 degree Celsius. So if you add salt in ice, its melting point will decrease to minus 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, so mixture of salt and ice is therefore called freezing mixture. It is also called freezing mixture. The next point is water is a high specific heat and latent heat, that you will study in your physics in heat chapter. So what is specific heat? Specific heat of a substance is the amount of heat is required to raise the temperature of unit mass of water by 1 degree Celsius. So latent heat of substance is the amount of heat required by to change at different state. Different substances have different specific and latent heat. Okay, so amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a substance or unit mass of a substance by only 1 degree Celsius. So specific heat of water requires that it absorbs a large amount of heat to become hot. Side by side, it will need less amount of heat to cools down also. It is because of the property that water is used as a coolant in many places as such in factories. It is in car radiators also we are using water as a coolant. In nuclear reactor we also use water as coolant. It absorbs large amount of heat produced in the machine without itself getting heated, thus preventing the machine from overheating also. water shows, water shows anomalous behavior, that it is the density is of at 4 degrees Celsius 1 gram per cubic centimeter. So it helps to freeze the only top layer of the water in the cold countries or cold areas, and the lower portion of the water body is still in the liquid state, which helps the aquatic plants and animals to survive. That is called anomalous or an abnormal behavior of water. So when water cools, is expected to start contracting and become denser. However, when the temperature is up to 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, so density is equal to mass by volume. Solid have greater density than liquid because the particles are very closely packed. If we drop an iron nail in a molten iron, the nail being denser, it will sink. However, in case of water, we can see that ice cubes being lighter float in the water. Okay. So how do aquatic animals survive in water? It is given in your book C in page number 130. During severe winter, what is saying here? During severe winter, the temperature of surface water is in lakes start dropping. In winter countries, what happens in winter? The temperature of the surface water starts dropping, and cold water being heavier, which sink in the bottom. Sorry. However, when the temperature reaches up to 4 degrees Celsius, the water expands and become lighter. Just a minute. So what happened? At 4 degrees Celsius, the surface water expands and become lighter. Hence, it no longer sinks. So at 0 degrees Celsius, the surface water freezes to ice, and ice being as a bad conductor of heat acts as an insulator between the cold water above it and warm water below it, and it prevents the entire water body to become freezes and protect the aquatic animals and plants in the water. So this is all about the physical properties and of water, what is having so many chemical properties that we will see in the next video class. So here is important thing that you have to remember, that is desalination of water, then the water cycle in nature, and the physical properties of water, and obviously how do aquatic animals survive in water, means anomalous behavior of water. So these 4-5 points we have to remember. These are the important topics of this chapter, the introduction of this chapter, that we have to remember for exam point of view. Okay, students, again I am saying Happy New Year and prosperous New Year to all of you. So I hope you have understood the thing that I have taught you today. So go through the chapter. If you get any kind sort of doubts, then please ask me in your next video class. Online class. Okay, thank you, students. Thank you very much.